Hello. I'd like to talk you through a little bit more about meditation today, or at least my type of meditation, how I like to meditate. Just sharing my experience, what works for me, and maybe there's something you can take away from that that would work for you. There's lots of different ways to meditate, um, and it's a personal preference what works for you. It's often a good idea to experiment with lots of different ones. Some people like to have a dedicated space for their meditation where they light candles and it's all, they set the scene sort of like a little shrine, perhaps with some music or with some incense, or other people like to have guided meditation, somebody else talking them through gently, or sound meditations. Other people like to use diurnal beats, which is a very specific sort of sound wave frequency that going, one side to the other with headphones on, and just kind of like maybe helping to alter your brain waves. So it's just a case of experimenting and seeing what works best for you. For me, the type that I particularly enjoy is to just settle myself with my eyes closed and breathe deeply from my diaphragm, breathe deeply and evenly like I do in yoga. I've seen other people describe that type of breathing. I mean, it's diaphragmatic breathing and yogic breathing, but I've seen some other people describe it when they're talking about meditation and things as bliss breathing. So that might be something that you've heard about as well. But all it is this diaphragmatic, slow, deep breathing. Inhaling, exhaling, using your diaphragm, drawing the breath up, really filling your lungs, and then exhaling through the nose and carrying on in a kind of circular motion of slow, regular breaths. And that's just what works for me. I find that very calming. There's all sorts of research, scientific benefits, health benefits that have been shown to work. It kind of gets the blood flowing around your body properly. It separates the blood cells. There's been studies, when they've done x-rays of the blood sort of sluggishly going around the body before you have this sort of breathing, and then afterwards everything's flowing again nicely. It sorts out your immune system. It helps to stimulate your vagus nerve, which then sorts out things with any problems you might have with your gut. A whole host of benefits. So that's one of the reasons, and I find it very calming. So that's one of the reasons I use it. And it's about building yourself up as well. I do it for half an hour every day, but that took time to build up to half an hour. I couldn't sit for half an hour to begin with. So, and I use a timer on my phone. I just to, set a timer. And to begin with, I just, try and do a couple more minutes every day. Start with 5 minutes and carry on until you can reach half an hour. And now sometimes I have to drag myself out when the alarm goes off after half an hour. I'm like, oh, I want to do a bit more. Because it's just lovely. Sitting comfortably. I like to sit cross-legged because that helps to open up your diaphragm and open up your chest so that everything's nice and open, so that you can take these deep breaths. But also, for some people, sitting like this for half an hour isn't comfortable. Some people like to sit on a little stool, or a little bean bag or something like this can help, and then you can sit like that, that's quite comfortable as well. Or even just leaning up against something and maybe with your knees up like this, although, you know, make sure that you've still got room here. So maybe you could have your legs out, but sometimes that puts a little bit of strain on the back, so it's better to lean against something. But you know, you can have your knees a little bit bent so long as you've got space in your diaphragm. And other people like to sit on their knees like this, either palms up. If you're sitting on your knees like this, then I think it's usually easier to hold your hands like this. If you have your palms like this, then you're feeling like you're constricting your chest. If you're cross-legged, having your palms facing upwards is great, because then it's opening your chest, whereas that movement is actually closing your chest. So this is how I like to sit. And then I close my eyes. So really I can do it anywhere, because, you know, my eyes are closed and this is all I need. And then it's just a question of tuning into your breathing. And if any thoughts, I think a lot of people think that meditating, you should clear your head completely of thoughts, and that's what frustrates them, because they're unable to do that until they think, oh, it's not working, I'm not doing it. But actually the way I like to think about it is that meditating isn't about stopping your thoughts, it's just about stopping your thoughts controlling you. So it's about managing your thoughts and you know, sort of getting your thoughts under control, so that they don't control you when, you know, in your everyday life, you know, you can just become calmer because of the meditation. Some people like to sit with a thought in meditation, to actually meditate on a particular thing, on a particular issue. I prefer just to sit with my eyes closed, observe the thoughts as they sort of come in and out of my head, but then I try not to actively think about them. I just let them come in, and what I'll find is sometimes a solution will present itself, or you know, some kind of answer, or just a point of view that I hadn't thought about, you know, something I've thought about 2 days ago, or that had been on my mind a couple of days ago, or, you know, that is something that I don't know, needed to resolve. So I'll find that as I sit there meditating, just this thought will float across, giving me the solution, or the calmness to let it go, or the resolution. Maybe it's not a solution, maybe it's just the resolution of, oh, okay, that makes sense. And then off it floats again. And I've reached the resolution, the answer, just from not even thinking about it, but it just floating in my head randomly from a few days ago, because I'm sitting there meditating, and I suppose it's because I'm opening myself up to receiving this kind of information, or you know, being still enough and you know, not occupying myself with other things, so that my brain has a chance to process these things, and then, you know, and then it's gone. And that's what it means by stopping your thoughts from controlling you, because then once it's gone, it's not anything I really did consciously to you know, force myself to think differently. It's just that you know, I allowed myself the space for my brain to process what needed to be processed with that particular incident that had happened, or thing that I needed to be thinking about and trying to resolve. And then, because I allowed myself the space, then it resolved itself, and then I can let it go, and you know, then it's gone. It's nothing that I need to think about anymore. And so that's where meditation helps. You know, if you think how valuable that is, with all the things that happen in your life, and it's a kind of relaxed, easy way to come to solutions to things, because you don't have to sort of, like, you know, worry about things. It's just, you know, just trust that this process works, and you know, you'll become a lot lighter over time. And I think you'll also find that while you're meditating, to begin with, you know, you'll have thoughts floating around your head. But then as you get into it and as the breathing takes over and as you get more used to it, you will find that there's times when your brain feels beautifully empty and you're not really, and you know, you're kind of aware that there's not really any thoughts going on, or the only thought that you're aware of is being aware that there are no thoughts. And you're in this beautiful state of just, you know, focusing on your breathing, focusing on the physical sensations that are happening in your body, in your mind, in your, you know, consciousness, that this breathing is doing. So that's kind of it, really. And I'll just leave you with a little statement which I quite like, which I invite you to ponder on, perhaps in meditation, that Westerners like to use meditation to fix things, whereas Easterners use meditation to prevent things. So that's just a perspective that might help you to think a little bit more about your own meditation practice. Okay? Hope it goes well.